Alright, yellow. Okay, so everything works fine. Alright. So, I'm gonna show you what patches that I make on Serum. And these are my patches right here. STP is Static Pony. And, I used to have this name a long time ago, like 6 years ago, that I made these patches, and I have to say I'm very impressed with the sound design that I've created, and I want you guys to have it on Serum because I work really hard to make these patches, and I named them all kinds of names, and they're not really easy to make. So I want to go back to one of my favorite patches I have. This one calls Japan Quartz 2. This one's called Frozen Pad. We want to get to the plug part. This is actually part of the emulation of the Juno waveform, I believe. This is I have no idea what this is, a dual toy, a default waveform from Serum or something. This is the pluck that I tried to emulate from using two saws, and look how many effects that I have to use for this. I have to actually move the effects around and to get the better quality of the plug sound. You hear it's kind of bassy. That's because I reduced it the low end, but I don't know why is it bassy like that when I put it on a low octave. That's my first drone. That's my drone. That's one of my patches. It says low octave W. W means with drone harmonics. That's my patch. And then we got Shit Hoover Nation, which is obviously the Hoover sound for Serum. Stadium Trance. I call it Stadium Trance because it sounds like it's from live on stage, but instead it's I don't know. And this is actually I actually created this detuning on the. Forget that. That's my phone. Now I create this detuning with the waveforms. And put it on a wavetable position to get this kind of effect. But without the unison and with the unison. Now this is one of my favorite ones. Oh, and guys, I forgot, lower your volumes please, because it can get loud. I forgot to say that to you guys. This one's called Stage Reese. Now Here's the thing about respaces. The original respace was used in the, I think, in the 1990s, and they use a basic saw wave, and what they use a basic saw wave with two oscillators, and they used a fine detune to create that wobble effect, which is called the respace, and people didn't know what it was called back in those days. So I've recreated my own sounds by naming my patches, and this one's called Stage Res. Now this one is a long respace. Now this don't have detuning on them. Well, it does have a fine detune on them, but it doesn't create that wave sound because of the detune. And the reason why it does that is because I put the unison to 16 to get this kind of effect on the distortion unit. And I play with the effects on here, the reverb, filter, chorus, phaser, distortion. I had to rearrange these to recreate this respace. Now listen to this one really closely. This is with the distortion unit, and this without the distortion unit. Without the distortion unit, it sounds like there is in a wavetable emulation kind of style, more like Wardolph. And this is the compressor. Now I put this like this for some reason. I have no idea how it was a long time ago that I make these patches. They're really old. Now with the distortion unit, this without the distortion unit. Now I like this part. This is a part of the tube saturation emulation that I happened to pick because I like vacuum tubes. They're very loud and they're very crunchy, and you could perform them on stage if you were in a heavy metal band. Now I like heavy metal, and I like trap music, heavy metal. I like all kinds of music, but it depends what kind of taste that I like, so that way I can listen to the sound and what the audience has to hear it. But yeah, that's about it. Stardust pad. Now there's the movement with the wavetables, as you can see. Now this one is used by this harmonic this one uses biharmonics from the filter to create the ghost sine effect. But this isn't sine. These are wavetables. And what this is doing is that it's using the noise oscillator from water. This is what it sounds like with the wavetable. That's a sub. I have no idea how did I put a sub all the way in the octave. Anyway, yellow. Okay. Anyway, so we have this one's called Throat Lead. Now, Throat Lead is actually one of the dance music EDM's kind of style. So this is what it sounds like with the low octave. Now, notice what I'm doing. Now, if you notice what I'm doing is I'm using the LFO1 and the rate to 100 hertz to create this kind of movement on the waveform, and to make it sound like it's angry. Then you have Tokyo Pluck. I call it Tokyo Pluck because this is what it sounds like. Now this is actually an 8-bit downsample from the distortion unit. I like downsampling instead of bit crushing my sound. Now I don't know why they took down did they took down the Redux from Ableton? Redux Legacy. Old sampler. Oh, there it is. They didn't take down the old Redux. So this is what the Redux sound like. You hear the yoy effect. It creates the vowel effect from the downsample. Now, I saw this guy on YouTube. He created a growl effect using the downsample rate on Massive, on Native Instruments Massive. And it was a long time ago that I've known this, because this one, for some reason, he doesn't use any. I think he doesn't use any distortion unit, or uses overdrive or something. But he uses this as his distortion unit, and he creates this kind of growlish effect on the downsample. Now I made the Tokyo Pluck even better. I like to rename my patches like this. Now this is the first Tokyo Pluck I made, and this is called Trash Lead. Now I'm pretty sure this sounds familiar to you guys. Now again, I used a tube distortion unit because I love tubes. And they sound loud. Now, there's Unison Choir 2 and Unison Choir. The first Unison Choir is same thing, but with the Unison Choir 2 is two more waveforms. And you have the format effect that you can change your vocals. You kind of get that sound on the format. Same thing with the oscillator A. Now this is actually one of my favorite bass. This one's, I call it the Unison compressed bass, because the Unison on the Unison on here, this is a default waveform of the Unison from here, and the Flanger Plus used to create this kind of high-end effect. And this one here, the flanger, this one is used to make this chorus sound. And I put the feedback to 65, to hear more about the flangers effect. Now I call this vintage pluck because as you can see right here, there's movements on the waveforms. That's what I want. And note, this is on mono, not on legato or always scaled or portamento or curve, just mono. Now I like to emulate the virus pluck because the virus pluck is very versatile, and I've been watching a lot of videos about the Virus TI, and I really want that synth so bad, but it's so expensive. Like nobody even publishes the Virus TI on Guitar Center, and I wish they did that because it needs to be known for the 90s hardstyle trance, and well, it's mainly for hardstyle and dance music, and the Virus beats everything on all plugins. It can even create a sitar using FM modulation with a sync formula, and you get that sitar kind effect. Sitar mean by SITAR. I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's how I pronounce it. Now this is my first Virus pluck. I don't know what the Virus pluck sound like, but what I did here on these waveforms is I made it into a thin saw, and you can see there that there's no patches in there because I don't know. This one's called 20x saws because I actually make this default noise called Unison 2. This is what it sounds like. Let me take off the distortion unit. And it's really loud, sorry. Now, if you listen to this real closely, the unison sounds like it's from 5 saws. But what this is really doing is that it's taking the randomization phase to all the way down to create this kind of gnarly effect. I'm gonna go over my patches just so you can hear the sound. This one's called Airy Pad. Now, I did movement on the waveforms. Now, I came to say something about having waveforms. Now, I use custom wave tables to edit the sound, because I don't want no, because don't like using any. Well, here's the thing. I use my own wavetables to see what I can make up with a sound. But for some artists, they say that they created these wavetables and it's so hard to make. Of course, they're so hard to make. But the thing is about Serum is that it cannot have the complexity of emulating something like modulator wise, wavetable wise from a synthesizer. Now, the thing is about this is that oscillators. No, the thing is about oscillators from different synths have a different effect from an oscillator. Like, it doesn't sound like wavetable-ish or anything like that. It's just part of the sound design, how it's created, how the synthesizer is created. Now, with Serum, it could try to emulate it, but it cannot. Like, I've noticed this when I had Native Instruments Massive, and they had this kind of sound design where like I used a bend plus and minus, and the problem is it cannot create this throat effect, and it can create a neuro kind of growl, I will call it, because that's Serum. However, Massive can create this wub effect. Serum cannot do that for whatever reason, and because of this, it's because it has to do with quality. Now I'm going to show you an example, but before I do that, let's go over the patches that I create. I'm not going to go in too much detail into my patches. So here's the Clear TB303 acid that's used by the Bandpass sound. I'm using the velocity changes on the C and V keys on the keyboard. Alright, let's hurry up. This is called Cloud9 keys. I don't know what Cloud9 is, so I've never heard of Cloud9 or anybody like it, but I call it Cloud9 keys, and this is what it sounds like. Very plucky. And I put the release to 1.46. Now I used a high cut to take away the low end, and the resonator to res it to create this kind of ringing bell effect. And I used the drive and the fat. Now I shouldn't even have to use this as macros, but I did it anyway. I used it on high cut and basically all 5 of these except for the pan, because this one only has 4 macro controls. I don't know why I call this crazily, but this one's very bassy for some reason. Now I use this on one of my tracks called the Crisp Bass. Now what this does, it creates this mind-blowing effect from the Crisp Bass, which I like. Now I call a lot of my basses crunch bass when I when I'm doing the same wavetables. And now the reason why I have the same wavetables, the same wave formula, is because it creates this kind of flangerness effect, like unison. And if you like unison, like for the part I call it, like, it should be called unison for some reason, because with the flanger is just effect of itself, and the unison is the wavetables. It does not emulate the flanger effect. The flanger effect creates this detune, but how do I explain this? It creates this the same detune effect over and over again. With this one, it creates like this kind of delay sound. With this one right here, it creates this kind of delay sound when you hold it up a note. Like, I'll show you for a moment. Notice how you're hearing the delay on it. That's sick. Alright, let me stop going over the Crunchbase patches. Now, I actually create this crunchy yoy sound. This one is my favorite sounds. Now, I call it crunchy yoy because this is the same waveform that I use, but if you hear it really closely, that's basically the sound. I added the noise and the sub, compressor, filter, low 6, no Moog sound. Dangerous static. Now this one, I had this Kontakt sample called Promidity V Metal, and I try to make a chug sound, and I've noticed that I need an amplifier, so I added an amplifier. So what can I do to make it and chug into stereo? How am I going to make it into stereo? Easy. Here's what I did. I took the wavetables and I added some harmonics into the table edit, and what I did here is I created this chug effect to create the metal chug, but instead it's synthetic. It doesn't sound natural. I like this chug because it's really good on my mixes for when I want to make drum and bass. You can use this one. Very gnarly. I love this one. This one's called Die Bass. This one's called Distorted Reese 2. That's odd. I'm trying to figure out how I did this. Oh, with the notch filter. This one's called DMB bells, but you can increase the bells to 16. Now, if you're a CPU hogger and you have like 16 cores or 8 cores, you can use these type of bells. Without the effects. Now, how I did this is, like I said before, I used the wavetable editor, and wait, I didn't use the wavetable editor unless. Well, anyway, how I did this is, I used FM from B to go to the FM sub, which is the basic wavetable of the sine wave. Now, if I put it here, it's going to sound out of tone. But when I put it here, it sounds in tone. Now, the thing is with when it comes to creating FM modulation on the FM sub, is that this one's so out of tone. Now, I don't know why this is in tune for square wave, but that's it. So the ones that are out of tune is this, this, and this. These are in tune. This one's called Droplets Pad, and how I did this is how I did this is well, I didn't create the waveform, but what's really excellent about this is that I used the AM modulator, which is called, I think it's called analog modulation, because it's just AM. And I did it from B, and I put the FM on sub and put it on the sine wave as my sub, and you get this kind of nice droplet effect. This is without it. I love this part. This one's my favorite. Now, if you want to make a pad sound, you could do that. Now, the thing is, I had to put it down an octave because this one's high on the octave of the waveform. Now, if I put it into a normal waveform, it's gonna sound like the volume is going to be low and stuff like that. There's going to be too many frequencies pressing the same waveform at once very quickly, simultaneously. So I leave it on C-2, as you can see it right here, which is kind of shitty, but it creates a nice effect with the droplets pad. Now, I call this Dub 2017 because it's actually a growl sound, but now Dub is actually for dubstep, or if you want to do rhythm or something like that. I don't like rhythm; it's so cheesy. I like regular dubstep with growls like the drop sound. Now, this is what it sounds like. Now this is called the EDM saw, which is from the default waveform of ICANN has kick. Now I added a downsample rate on the waveform. This one's called ethereal keys, which is from the harmonics of the waveform. Now this is used by Ethereal Organ too. Now I put this on the stack of 12 3 times or something to stack up the sine waves. And this is what you hear. It sounds like an organ. Listen to this. But it adds like this pad sound. But if you want it to sound like an organ, this is without the attack, this is what it sounds like. This is falling keys. Now, this is going to use CPU because of there's so many movement on the waveform. These are my FM bell sounds that I created myself. Ooh, very drony. Now this is the ring modulation from oscillator B. That's the default waveform of these two oscillators. Ooh, that's dark. This one is the first patch that I tried to create an FM bell was so hard to make because of the complexity. No, because I didn't understand Serum at the time when it was released. Now this is FM Impact, which is used by the sub. And notice how this one says deep note only, so you have to put it on a lower octave of the key. So Z is to change the octave to change the octave to a downside, and X is to forward it. These are FM keys. Now, I love this one. Now, here's the thing about this. I have the flanger, chorus, and the hyperdimension off. Now, of course, you will hear this difference. Now, if you put it all the way, and if you put the unison on 16, with the range of 1, you got your own FM keys. But here's the CPU. It's very hungry like. So if I want to, now I could overdo this if I wanted to, and I will. You hear that you hear that effect? That's coming from the ring modulator and the FM sub on the wavetable sine wave. This one's called FM Stomp. Now, obviously, if you're an FM freak, you can create growls, you can create environmental effects, cinematic, almost everything you can create on Serum. But the limitations on it for having it on 4x oversampling, it basically is endless. There's no end to it. Now, Diva, UA Diva has an end. The thing is, it's high on CPU hungry. Now, if you have 16 cores, you can use Diva and you can play with your synthesizer. You can play with your synthesizers you can play with your instrument Diva because it emulates the Minimoog, it emulates the Juno synth, it emulates the trance synth. Now, when I test out the trance synth, it was high on my CPU. It was like ridiculous. I couldn't even make trance music on Diva, but I use Diva on basically on sound designing, and I created a sound design on Diva using the modulator bells patch, and I put it into Kontakt, and I basically what I did is I detuned the Diva's bells to make it have this kind of glow effect, and it adds detuned and it's rich. But here's the thing: the bells are out of tune on the Diva synthesizer, virtual synthesizer actually. Now this is what the FM Stomp sounds like on Serum. Now I have my key on A, and I have the velocity change on C, which decrease the velocity. Now if I put it on V, I increase the velocity change, and this is what it does. I love this sound. Now, I don't know how I did this. Did I do this before? I don't think I did this. I don't think I created this waveform. But, notice what it's doing. This one's going down, this one's going up. Now I have the LFO1, and this is what it animates to. It doesn't say yoy or anything. It's called FM Wobble. Oh, would you look at that? I'm gonna have to update my Game Ready driver. This one's really loud. I call this granular yoy because well, it's not granular, but what you're hearing now is 8-bit sounds, but it doesn't create this granular sound. Like, I just make this patch up for stupidity. But this is what it sounds like. That's one of my patches. This one's called Impact Laser 2. Now what? Now listen to this really carefully. Now again, this is used by the Rin modulator for the impact laser. That's a basic laser. This one's called Infected String. I'm gonna go over the patches really quickly, so I don't want to go into detail. Is this still recording? Yeah, this is still recording. Holy shit. This is actually one of my favorite narrow-ish respaces. This one's used by a tiny waveform, but if you listen to this really carefully, what it's doing is there are two frequencies being phased. This one's a different square waveform, this one's a different square waveform. But look at the random phase on each of them. This one's on the middle. Now, this is tricky because I play with the phase and it recreates this kind of narrowish explosion sound. And that's it. Those are my regular recess sounds, so don't pay attention to those. This, I try to create a plug on here because the delay unit is mixed like this, but if you look at the compressor, it's basically compressing the threshold. I'm using the threshold to create volume, but it's not loud enough, so I had to use a limiter to make it loud, or to use a utility to increase the gain. That I call it Ripple Release 1. Now this one you're gonna be shocked on this one. This is one of my favorites. Now let me give you a brief demonstration of how this works. This is the default SAW waveform, and this is the initialized SAW patch from the table edit. Now, man, I'm sweating. Now, the thing is, with this edit, I created this kind of weird ripple effect. I have no idea how I recreate this, but it sounds gnarly as fuck. Now here's the problem with creating this shit. I call it shit PBG. It's a synthesizer, but whatever. Anyway, I call it shit GPPG Sync 3 because there's a problem with the frequency on the waveform on the waveforms. They do emulate the same sounds, but the problem. Can I do a randomization phase on here with the same waveform? That's cool. Anyway, I did use the sync on this one. Now how I create this is I use the I think a resample or render or something, and I created my own wavetable using that. And with Serum's technology, like when it was updating, it never had this. It never had this feature when I first got my hands on Serum, but now it does. And then we got sine bells. Now I was gonna make a reverse effect on the sine bell, but I have no idea how it works. So I'm lost at words with this patch. Now this is called a sub roller. Now this is the lead that I really like. This is one of my lead patches that I created myself, and I really love this lead. Like, this was so hard to make because this basically came out on my imagination though of a sound. And the thing is a sync sound, as you can see, but it has ring modulation and FM modulation. The ring modulation controls oscillator B, and the FM modulation controls the sub, which is the square waveform. Now put all together on the mod, this is what it sounds like. You hear that speech effect. Now here's the thing about this. I had this patch on a project that I created this patch on a project that I was working on. So I wanted to save that patch for later for future use. So I want to show you how I recreate this. As I said before, this is used by sine wave. This is used by the sync sound for the wavetable position. And you know what it is. And this is the noise sound from the Juno. And the chorus. Now this is a syncopate, and this is the default waveform of the UHE Diva, and yeah, that's basically it. This is actually the default waveform of the sound. This is a recreation of it though. Now if you listen to the waveform really carefully, notice how it's like being blended. Now this is the default waveform of the Diva. This is the flanger, this is the phaser. Oh, I didn't know I did this. Now this is my favorite pad. I call it synthetic pad because it adds like this kind of detone waveform of it. Man, I'm so sweaty. Now this is the default of the TB303 acid. Now notice I'm using the octave. I'm using the velocity changes. The keys are C and V. C is to turn the velocity down. V key is to turn the velocity up on Ableton. You gotta be kidding me. Okay. Sorry guys, something's wrong with my headphones, or my Focusrite doesn't want to respond to my headphones or something, and I don't like that. I'm gonna have to buy a new set of the Beats headphones. Now this is the temple bells. Notice what I'm doing. I'm using, look, when I put this up an octave or down an octave, I'm using C to go below an octave and X to go above the octave. So right now, I'm at C3. That's basically it. Now this is the temple bells, and obviously it's just the same effects: hyper, chorus, flanger, phaser, EQ, and compressor. Now this is the virus keys. I like to call it virus patch for some reason, but that's my... I have no idea why this uses CPU. Sounds analog. Now here's the difference with these two patches. This one is low on CPU because I made this without over tuning it, and I used Virus Keys 4 to tune it. Now here's the difference. It sounds vintagey. It sounds vintage, and and I have a load of effects loaded here, so that's about it. Now the virus doesn't have a notch, and I use a notch filter to Now the virus is known for its phaser, and the phaser is just excellent. Virus plug. I'm just going to go over the patches. I'm tired of explaining a lot of these patches. You know what, I'm gonna sample this. Let me just take that out. Okay, is that the right octave? Alright, I'm gonna put this here. I'm gonna resample this so I'm gonna share this laser patch that I created on Serum. What's it? Where am I? And put this here. Go here. And put on resampling. Man, I'm tired. But I just got up this morning like at 11:30. Perfect. Laser 2. That's what I'm going to call it. And then Laser 1. I'm going to put on my sample pack. Lasers. Alright, I want to show you the patches. Hold on. Hold on, guys. I like this sub a lot. Now here's the thing. It's not that difficult to make a sub. So what I do is I use 2 sine waves. One which is the regular sub. The other one is the octave below. And we have the FM from B and FM from sub. Now here's the thing. I want to see if I can do it with 2 unisons. Let's see, the hyper and the chorus. It's too screechy. Unison doesn't make it. Yeah, I don't like it. It's too screechy. I tried making a sync pad on Serum, but it's impossible. Like, I don't know how I make it though. Now these are effects for Serum. Mixed it right and process confusion. Those are my effects. Alright, yeah, so that's about it. I hope you like my stream, and kudos to you guys.